Baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away, baby, it's cold outside. This evening has been
So very nice.
Are we good?
We're good on our end. We just got to wait for it to pop up.
All right. Baby, it's cold. Baby, it's cold outside.
Should be close.
Oh, yeah, we're good. All right.
You see us?
Yeah. I think. Here, just close it down. Close it back up. Yeah, see, I told you.
Sweet.
I tell you, our YouTube.
Can never be too careful.
Yeah, our YouTube crowd gets to see the cold opens. It's excellent.
Yeah.
And so
the raw dog.
It's the only way we do it. On this week's episode, it's the second annual Counterculture Christmas special.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And we're back. You can tell we're totally prepared.
Yeah, this one's a fun one.
No issues at all.
Yeah, we're just winging it. But don't we always?
Yeah, it's pretty much, I mean, I just fly by the seat of my pants. It's probably kind of how I've done life for the last 28 years.
Nice hat.
Thanks.
I'm just a little sad you didn't bring two. You know, it's what.
Well, to be honest, we have a second one, right? One for each of the kids because this is technically my son's. And if I didn't have these headphones on, it'd look really stupid. But
two sizes too small.
Yeah,
like the Grinch, but with the hat.
Exactly, right. So I'm going to have brain damage at the end of this. But the other one is certainly smaller than this one, so you wouldn't have.
It would have looked just like a yarmulke on the back.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think I can say that right now. There's a lot of. Never mind, we're not going there.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't go there. But yeah, we're here for our Christmas special, I think I'm excited for us to do this just because again, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. You know what I mean? I mean it's just nuts, and I think doing something a little lighthearted is gonna be fun. So we actually have some great questions that we got from Instagram and Facebook and a couple of different places that we're going to go through. We'll see how long that takes. But before that, we are going to do also our top 3 Christmas songs, just because last year we did our top 5
Christmas movies,
movies. Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to see what our top Christmas movies are, go back and listen to the podcast from last year.
See, one of my answers, I don't know if it has to change now because, little spoiler alert, I picked Die Hard as one of mine. I believe, because it is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I think you did.
But apparently Bruce Willis came out. It was during one of those silly celebrity award shows and said that it's not a Christmas movie. Well, and I think he lost points in my book. So,
well, Bruce Willis is stupid because Die Hard is a Christmas movie, but it is not one of my top 5. Yeah, seriously. And why would he not like carry that around with like honor?
Well, I guess because
here we go.
I'm just copying you on purpose. I guess because he's not like on the Marvel team where they just go with the fans. I guess he's still on the celebrity team where it's his way or the highway. I don't know.
Yeah, well, guess what? Bruce Willis, you haven't been relevant for like 25 years. So look where that's gotten you.
Yeah. The more you like surf through different streaming apps and stuff, you realize that, holy crap, when did this movie come out? Oh, it's Bruce Willis. And you realize, oh, it's because he just chases the dollar. Almost kind of like Nick Cage did for a while there. And he's just in all these like fast, like foreign movies that just come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Family Man with Nick Cage?
Great movie.
Yeah.
Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is. Very good movie. Mm-hmm. Very, very good film. Underrated, but no one ever thinks of it. But it's a really good movie. And he's actually very good in that movie.
He's not a bad actor.
No, he's just a little eccentric.
Yes, he is.
But also I think he's had like some silly roles. Like it's a meme. Like it's the one with the bees. I don't know what I have no idea what the movie's called.
With the bees.
Yeah,
I know they're with Con Air.
Well, Con Air is funny, but
so cringy. Like he's him trying to do it's like a Southern debutante almost accent.
Yeah, and then like the long hair. It's very goofy.
You love to hate it.
I mean, you love to love it. It's a guilty pleasure, right? You know, I think is John Travolta in that film too?
No, but Steve Buscemi's in it, I believe.
That's right. No, I'm thinking of isn't there another movie with John Travolta and Nick Cage where they're like something like facial like swap or something like that?
It's not face swap or something. It's something almost as silly like
yeah,
that.
I can't remember what it is.
I think it's called FaceTime, an Apple product.
Anyway.
Hey, on a side note, because I know we're just rambling at this point. Did you see the newest movie with Nick Cage called Nick Cage? I think it was, or Cage.
Oh, are you talking about the one where he's like playing himself, basically?
In a alternate universe, kind of, he's playing himself.
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
Was it really?
Yeah, you should see it. It's got the dude.
I think it's Pedro Pascal, right?
Yeah, Pablo Escobar,
the guy from Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, hey, I heard he's the one that's dead, but there's a meme running around on like TikTok now because saying that Mexico like abducted 2 American tourists and they're demanding El Chapo be released in exchange for 2 tourists. So, because that's what we do now.
Yeah, we give back the most horrible people. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to see that one.
Yeah. So before we jump into everything, obviously, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share the show with your friends, hit the notification bell. We go live every Thursday night for live stream, or we at least if we pre-record, it goes up on Thursday night. So we every Thursday night.
You should be getting some content,
except for the next 2 weeks. I'm doing this really terribly. We're gonna have some sort of content, yeah. But if you prefer just the audio version, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, where you can leave a 5-star review. Really appreciate it. And then you can find us on Instagram at the CountercultureCast, right? Where you can see the horribly offensive things that we post all the time, like the stories I post, the videos I posted on our story yesterday, and our latest post, which I thought was a really great meme. Did you see it?
I did not. I'll have to check it out.
So anyway, we're gonna hop right into it.
You're not even gonna talk about it? You can't.
It's a Libs of TikTok meme. So it was one of those memes. Yeah, it was a meme because it was like basically like a super woke person. Yeah, just pull it up real quick. Stand by.
This is important stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a meme of like
this one.
Yeah, of it's like a trans human of some sort, whatever, saying I'm gonna share my story with the world, and then it's like a person with the Libs of TikTok as the face that says I'm gonna share your story too, and they just have the straight face and then the angry face meme, those are my favorite ones.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
So go follow our Instagram page so you can go see the picture, because it's a lot funnier when you just look at it and not have me describe it to you over video and or audio. So anyway, so to jump into this, we're going to start out with, again, something very light, right? We're going to go with our top 3 Christmas songs.
All right, bet.
Right? So, I mean, there are a ton of versions of every Christmas song out there. Now, for me, part of my inspiration of suggesting this to you was I was having a conversation with my dad, actually, that started with a conversation with Christina, which was, when we think of Christmas in the United States, right, a lot of the imagery that we have as a country, the things that give us the nostalgic feeling that we want and adore about Christmas, comes from not only our own childhood that most of us have, right? We have childhood memories of Christmas, right?
Right.
But it's also a lot of times these old versions of these songs, right? Because again, like I was just saying, like every Christmas song has a billion versions, right? Mm-hmm. By every, new popular artist, right? They come out with their own Christmas album, right? All that kind of stuff, right?
But it's not necessarily the oldest versions that are like a person's favorite. I would almost say it's whatever version may have been relevant or overplayed at the time you were going through childhood.
That's true, but what I was talking to my dad about was that, like, but a lot of times, sometimes the oldest versions of these songs are the ones that give us that warm fuzzy feeling, right? Like here's what I'll say. Like for me, my favorite I'm just gonna go with my number 3, right?
Okay.
It will kind of make this make sense, right? So my number 3 Christmas song is "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year," right?
Classic.
Or the version with Andy Williams, right? Which is the one that everyone knows, right? When you think of that song and you hear it in your head, right? His is the version that you hear, right? And again, it's a lot like a lot of the other songs, or the other 2 songs that I'll mention, is like these songs are written like a lot of times in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like post-war, right? United States, right? So it's interesting that these guys are coming out with this music, right? And how that music really shaped, right? How we see Christmas and how we feel about Christmas in the United States. You know what I mean? So for me, again, a classic one, right, is "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year," right, by Andy Williams. And I'm not gonna play it, but you know exactly. I mean, when you think of the song, you know it, and we can't play it because copyright stuff, or else I would, and that'd be fun. But that's not it. So that's my number 3.
Nice. I would have to say my number 3. And there's so many good ones, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I had to just pick, I definitely got like 2 that I really like. But I've noticed my taste kind of changed, if that makes sense. So growing up, I would say that one of my favorites, and then I'd probably put it at my number 3 for right now, is "Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies" from the Nutcracker.
Oh, that is a good choice. Very classic.
Like, it doesn't even need words. It's just orchestral. And I don't know. I hear it come on and it's like Christmas to me.
That's actually, what's funny is I know exactly what you mean, right? Is, again, you don't need it's a song with not words, but you don't need it. It's, again, you hear the Sugar Plum Fairy tune, and like you said, it immediately puts you in that mode, right? Of Christmas, right?
There's no newer version of Butcher. It's just music.
Yeah, right. There's no way to ruin it, right? Yeah, you just put it on the instruments and they play.
#timeless.
What's really funny about that is that actually goes to my second one.
Okay.
Right. So my number 2 is the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
I was gonna put that as my number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the Carol of the Bells.
Yes, that's
Home Alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So that's my number 2. But yeah, so it's the same thing for me, right? No, there's no words to it, right? But again, it immediately puts you right into it.
Yep.
Right? It's Christmas as it can be. And actually it's one of Eli's favorite, like it's basically his favorite Christmas song, because he wants to play it all the time over and over and over and over and over again. And it's just great. It's fun. It's great. I've always actually wanted to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra in concert. I think once Eli gets a little bit older, I would talk to Christina about actually doing that, because I think that'd be really cool. Because it's always been such a unique thing. Now, granted, I only know like that song, Carol of the Bells, and like 2 other songs by them, but I would sit there, right, and watch, the guitarist they have just shred on the stage all night long to Christmas music. So, Carol of the Bells, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is my number 2.
Was on my list, but now I've changed it. So, my number 2.
You can still have it.
No, it's fine. That way we can just keep the segment going.
You can milk it for everything.
Every penny. No, you're gonna laugh, but I'd probably put it at my number 2. It just, I don't know. It rings to me right now, and everybody knows it. Everybody can sing it. Everybody can parody it. But to my knowledge, there's only the one, and that's "Last Christmas" by Wham. It's so cringe, but like
not my top 3, but I love that song.
It's Christmas.
Yes, it is.
But it's like 80s Christmas.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The synthesizer, right? It's like a breakup song, but it's about Christmas, and it's great.
My father-in-law used to always sing to my wife's family when they growing up. They made a parody as "Last Christmas, I Gave You My Fart." And the very next day you gave it away. It's like you're sad, that somebody gave away your fart. I don't know. Like, again, Christmas.
That's great. That's it. No, that is a fantastic number 2. That is a fantastic, fantastic one, right? I love Last Christmas by Wham. Very good, very underrated.
It's Wham.
It is. I mean, exactly.
It's
right.
good.
But you know what's funny about that song is, it's the epitome of like pop stars that came out with their own version of not even their own version of a Christmas song, but like their own Christmas song.
Right.
Because then you have even like I don't know. Have you ever heard of Elton John's like "Step Into Christmas"?
I know Elton's done a few Christmas things, hasn't he?
Yeah, like "Step Into Christmas" is like his most popular Christmas song he ever put out. I mean, it's okay, but it's a Christmas song, so I like it, right? But those both go along the lines of these pop stars that like try to put out like new songs. Last Christmas definitely caught on much more than Elton John's "Step Into Christmas," but still good song. But
It's in every like department store ever, always,
yeah,
forever. Like,
but again, it's so catchy, and like you said, everyone knows it. So my number one, right, is it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, specifically the Michael Bublé version. Bublé. Now, I say that specifically because
he's just got such a sweet voice.
He is, well, first off, I think his Christmas album, I think, is like 7, 8, maybe even 10 years old now. I don't even know how old now. But his Christmas album that he came out with is the, without a doubt, best Christmas album ever put out, in my opinion. And it's just perfect.
I mean, it's like he was made to just do Christmas music.
Yes, exactly.
100%. Like every Hallmark movie, I feel like every cup of cocoa with a few little marshmallows floating at the top, and you think Michael Bublé.
Exactly. I mean, you can't have Christmas without Michael Bublé. You can't. And so therefore, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. But also because I have a Christmas playlist that I have like on Spotify, right?
Yeah.
And that's the first song that I have, right? And when we get into the season, it's not only is it the first song on the list, but it's the first song that I usually play, because
that's how the order usually works.
It gets you.
It's the first one on my list.
Throw it on
and the first one I play.
You can throw it on shuffle, right? Most people just throw it on shuffle.
But you don't, because you want to listen to
I specifically put that song on first because it gets my brain in the mindset. Going. It does get the people going, right? And
but I'm also a Christmas in July type of person. Like, I put Christmas music on randomly. I'll start randomly singing it in the car.
That's very strange.
And I realized that, I don't know if it's like genetic, but my kids will, like, it could be like September or like freaking March, and one of them in the back will just start singing Christmas music, and like they get that from me, and the wife knows it.
That's really funny because actually my kids do the same thing. Like, actually, I remember a couple of times specifically this summer, like we were doing stuff, and Eli would just be like, "Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle." I'm like, I'm like, it is July. It is 98 degrees out here.
Well, that's not saying much because, I mean, this Christmas may be warm too. I mean,
have you seen the weather?
We're getting like another polar vortex, but we'll see. I'm holding my breath.
Bro, Christmas Eve, the low is like 30.
Okay. This is Texas, so wait 30 minutes, it's going to change.
No. Okay, look at this. Look at it. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you got Thursday a low of 25, Friday a low of 21, and then Saturday a low of 29 for Christmas Eve. Even if it goes up.
That's like 2 weeks away, though.
It's not that far. It's not. This is the 10-day forecast. The weather guys never get it wrong.
Never.
You have to have a positive mindset. Okay,
hey, I'm super positive, but it's like walking into a movie with your hopes down, so you can walk out with a better experience.
You have zero expectations. Yeah. That way, you can't be disappointed.
Exactly. So I guess my new number one for this game, since you took turns on Bruno Orchestra, I'm gonna have to go with kind of classic like you. Yeah. It's an oldie but a goodie. And it's "Do You Hear What I Hear" by Bing Crosby.
Oh.
And that it's so slow, but I mean, when you hear it, to me that's like, you know, you've put the kids to bed. It's playing on the Alexa, you know, nice and quiet. All the like lights have been dimmed, and then, you know, it's just chill, you know. It's like right before you start to like maybe lay out presents and things like that. It's just Oh, it's Christmas time.
You know what's funny is that's the kind of thing that I want to listen to when we're doing that as well. It's
Wrapping presents, something.
It's the Frank Sinatra,
Mm-hmm.
the Dean Martin, the Bing that those guys again. It gives you that feeling. Like their version of those songs gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling of Christmas.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
and that's why I separate it, because it's setting the mood, and when you hear it, that's it. It's in the air when you hear it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that you necessarily just want to listen to when you're just driving, though, either. That's where, like, the Wham comes in. That's when you're doing Christmas shopping, and it's like, I'm trying not to murder people because the line at Forever 21 is so long or whatever. And Wham's playing, So I feel like there's... And then you have your other ones, of course, like your typical, like your Jingle Bells and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And those are childhood songs. Those are for the youth. My kid got like a music program every year. And I think my wife just got to go, either it's this weekend or she just got to go this past week to it. But the reason my kid's been singing Christmas songs for the last 2 months is because every day in music, they're learning new Christmas songs to put on this little pageant.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have Eli's tomorrow night.
Do you really?
Yeah, we have his little Christmas performance, and he as well has been singing and practicing. So there's gonna be a whole thing. Right, we're gonna go do it tomorrow night, and then we're gonna go to dinner with my mom and all that kind of stuff. She's gonna go too, so it should be all fun. Again, what's funny is this is one of those things where, in case anyone wondered how we felt about the current president, but it's one of those. We were kind of talking about this last week. It's one of these steps of parenthood, right?
Yeah.
Your kid going to school, you're going to a pageant, right? Or a few weeks ago, we went to the first birthday of a classmate of his, right? And I'm meeting all these parents. I'm like, this is weird, man.
Like this is parenting now.
Yeah, this is like what it is to be a parent. Like, you meet other parents and you talk to them and stuff.
All the guys congregate together.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So sports.
In this one, I didn't necessarily there was one dude that I actually he was super chill, that we talked quite a bit. But it was partially because him and his wife were really young, like Christina and I were, and the other parents were all
yeah, that's the other thing.
Quite a bit older.
When you start parenting young, I mean, you're kind of the odd sheep until
you are. It's so bizarre. It's really funny because, I look at a lot of these parents and again, they got a solid almost 10 years on Christina and I almost. I mean, pretty close. I mean, I'm 28, Chris, she's 27, so more like 7 or 8 years, right, to be more realistic, but still that's a huge
those
age
late
gap.
bloomers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it amazes me again how many people are waiting to get married, waiting to have children. Like Christina, she's been involved with a mom's group at our church, and she has met one of them, and they've gotten really close. And her daughter is the same age as Lila, but she's almost 40.
So yeah, no thanks. And honestly, if it's an accident kid, or there's some oops, and you have one in college or one in high school, and then fine. But if you're just starting, I mean, that is not the way I wanted my life to go.
The wall is coming.
See,
ladies, not guys.
We're talking about Christmas. We're talking about parenting and making memories. Kids in pageants.
Yeah.
Wrapping gifts, listening, being Cosby, like we were talking about. And there's something to be said about starting parenting young. Sure, you may miss out a little bit. You can't do the romantic vacations, just you and your significant other for 5-10 years. While you're building a career and all. You miss that part a little bit because I don't want to say you shortchange yourself, but you start the bigger things sooner, like me and the wife. I think we were married for 6 months before my wife was pregnant. It's just, maybe it was a year, between 6 months and a year, whatever. Splitting hairs at this point. But you see, my point is just, we wanted to start earlier. So the pros that come with that are, by the time I'm old and gray, or hopefully, not in the, 1 foot in the grave, what have you, I'm going to have, grandchildren, if not great grandchildren, probably coming over to the house for Christmas, building those same memories, but you get to see your legacy and you see that, that passing on. I'm not going to be in hospice, with a high schooler, still going in. I want somebody who can take care of me.
No, 100%. And what's really funny in that it's funny you bring that up because the videos I had like reposted TikToks on our story yesterday, and they were both highlighting women who were in their late 30s, right, alone, right, single, no family, nothing, and they were just so distraught, so miserable.
I saw you post that.
Yeah, one of them was talking about how she was witnessing her cousins with their children.
Wasn't she like crying or something?
Yeah, she's in. Yeah. I mean, she's sobbing, right? Because she's explaining how her cousins have children, or her cousin has children, right? And how happy it makes her grandparents, right, to see that, right? And she's like, I will never get to experience that, right? And again, like, because she bought into this lie, right, of being able to wait, and you do this, and you're be independent, and body count doesn't matter, and blah blah blah, all this kind of bull crap that feminism tells women, right? She's now finds herself, right, in her late 30s, right, and the reality is not doesn't seem to be a suitable partner for any man her age, right? Because here's the reality, right? If she's in her late 38 to 40, right? Any guy that's 38 to 40 is going to be interested in a woman who's 30, right? Or in her mid 20s.
Yeah, and
that's just the reality.
People are talking about age gaps, but that's the way the men are going. Men want somebody who's unspoiled, who, at that point is wanting the same things out of life as they are, and the older women aren't it.
No, they're not, and so they're finding themselves old, lonely, and bitter, and
because we've talked about that too. I mean, the ones that get off the market quick are the young ones who they don't party. They go to school. They may get their degree, but after that, they're going to church. They're looking for a man because they want a family. They want to extend those beliefs that they grew up with, and you're not going to find that really at the club.
No, you're not. I mean, and so
I'm saying religious people can't have fun or go to the bar, but you see my point.
Right. Well, I think that's a good segue into what we were going to do next is kind of like I said, we did get some questions, right, on Instagram and Facebook, and that will actually go into our first one. So this is one that was actually asked several weeks ago. I reached out to this young woman, saying, hey, like, I know I told you we'd do a whole episode on this. I'm a liar because, what is a podcaster if not someone that makes empty promises? But I told her, I said, we will cover this on this.
So you're saying you're a glass half empty kind of guy?
I like to say half full because I like to be optimistic. But
that is neither.
No. So that actually goes into this because she had asked, if we could do a podcast about men, on what men really want in women, but then how to get that rock, right? Because she had kind of put it in perspective of people who are in this modern society who feel like we are a rare species that actually want to find love, marriage, and have families, right?
I would say it's easy.
I would say it's simple, but it's not easy. Meaning, and what I mean by that myself is that, like,
that's a better way to put it.
Is that we all know the answer, right? It's just up to you to be able to do the right kind of things, right? It starts off on a very basic level. Is if you want those things, right? If you want to get married, if you want to have children, you need to go places where people that have those same values are going to be, right? This is kind of the point you were just making, right? And the reality is that's found mostly in, churches, synagogues, things like that.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be around people,
traditional households, yeah.
Right? That hold these traditional values in high esteem, right? And try and do their best to live by them, right? And they're gonna stumble, they're gonna fall, just like all of us do, right? But they are going to take those things serious. So again, it's simple it's simple but not easy because again, we know where to find it,
right? And just because you go to those places doesn't mean it's gonna be foolproof. It doesn't mean it's gonna work right off the bat. But yeah, that's a good place to start for sure. Because I mean, at the core, at the foundation that you're going to try to build with somebody, you need to have similarities, similar interest. You know,
Right.
It not saying that two different religions can't make it work, but there's going to be bumps in the road. Those are going to be big hurdles down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're just dating and it's a fling, then obviously that's not the answer to the question. I mean, the question was, how do you get that rock? How do you find somebody? And I would say it's pretty simple. As a young guy, you know, when I was dating, I had no timeline. I mean, I knew eventually I'm supposed to get married, but I had no timeline with, I would guess, my ex. It was like 5 years of dating. And I mean, I had no intention, but I don't know if she did really either. Cause that's kind of the thing with dating. You need to set the standards and
Set expectations. Yeah.
what your goals are here. And I think it's a very valid point because I have a sister-in-law who's kind of in the looking for love, I should say. And she's not playing around. And, you know, talking with her, she
Look at
says
us.
it pretty much.
You're look at you just spilling tea all over the
Exactly.
place.
It's a big old mess. But she's being very upfront with these guys. Like, hey, I'm not, you know, I'm looking for something serious. I'm not looking to date for 5 years and then, you know, see what happens next. Like, either you make the cut, you check these boxes of like what I'm going to want out of life, or move along, because she's not wasting time. One of my really good buddies who is getting married in January, and we're going to that here in a couple weeks.
Whoop, whoop.
He had like a 6-month engagement. I don't know if he's gonna be mad at me or not, but I think he was dating for just a few months and decided to get engaged. Like, now granted, he's 32 like myself, and at this point he's not playing games either. He knows what he wants, and you lock it down and you find somebody that you know, meets all your needs, makes you happy.
Right. And I think, you know, I think a key part of the reason why he's about to get married, and what many people would say is a, you know, really short engagement. Oh, are you sure you know each other? All these kind of silly things that people say to get you to not get married, right? That's usually all it is. It's reasons why you should not make commitments, right? Which is very stupid, but that's our culture. I assume, right, similarly to what your sister-in-law is doing, is just putting it on the table, right? I mean, and this is the same thing that I did with Christina. It's like, this is what matters to me. This is what I care about. I'm not going to change things about this. And if we're good with this, then we're good to go.
And there's a difference in that and saying, I can grow with somebody. Because you definitely want to grow with the person, but your core values aren't going to change.
Correct. Right. And
I may learn to like broccoli, you know?
Nah, it's okay.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
You're over here like, old Christian, would you have ever gone and done like keto or anything like that? Like, dude, maybe you're set in your ways, but my point is, you can change people a little bit, but you're not going to change. Hey, this is how I want to raise my kids. This is where I want to, you know.
Yeah, right.
I want to get married by X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm not, you know.
Right, 100%. And I think, and of course, this has been on my mind a lot because right now, Christy and I are listening to, on Daily Wire Plus, Jordan Peterson did this 3-part little mini series on marriage. Okay. And they're all about like 40-ish minutes long. Yeah, he's been married for 33 years, I think.
I didn't know if she had passed.
No, yeah, you know, she's still there. She almost passed away a couple years ago.
Did she? But didn't he almost?
Yeah, and what's crazy in that time frame, they were both severely ill and were separated from each other for a long time trying to deal with it. So crazy stuff. That family's gone through some serious turmoil over the last like 4 or 5 years as he's become one of the most famous people in the world, which is incredibly bizarre. Just crazy. I can't even imagine the sort of emotions and things that he's felt over the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's a pretty emotional dude too.
Yeah, he does, and that's what I mean. I hate for this to turn into the Jordan Peterson fanboy podcast.
You always bring him up at least like once.
I can't help myself, right? I mean, the man is a genius, right? And the things that he shares are incredible, and it's true because, you know, and he gets emotional because he talks about how, you know, these young men, right, that will come up to him, right? Because he says like young men come up to me all the time, and they said like, your video has changed my life, right? And they found a 5-minute video of him on YouTube saying, you know, you need to clean your room. And that's changed his life.
Yeah.
I mean, that changed the kid's life. and he gets emotional because it's like it's amazing what happens to someone when someone actually believes in them in a certain sense, right? Because what Jordan is bestowing upon someone when he's giving this advice is he's saying, if you do this right, I believe that you can be better. I believe that you can kind of level up, right? You can get to the next, you can be something more, right? Because when we finished, because we also finished listening to the audiobook of 12 Rules for Life recently too. And at the end of the book, in the audiobook, he talks about, he's like, I hope you take these things and I hope they affect you and change you and so that you can be the best version of yourself that you can be to make this world a better place, right? And so when he's coming from that point of view, it's like you can't help but love the guy, right? But anyway, but in this marriage miniseries, right, he's talked a lot about this, right? When it comes to the compatibility, right, and the importance of making the commitment. And what's interesting now is something you said too, is that like a lot of times we're finding it where it's older men that are getting with younger women, right, that are getting married because, of course, for the women, I understand, like, it's a sense of security, right? You find a guy that's, 32, 33, he's established in whatever his career is.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like biased or come across as sexist. Like, oh, so it's okay for a man to become established and then date younger to get what he wants, but if a girl wants to pursue a career, and then I'm not saying it works one way or another. All I'm saying is there's a reason why guys will try to. Guys mature later than girls anyways. And a lot of times I would say girls are more established coming right out of the gate too. But
I think the only thing with that is where I don't want to say disagree because I don't think you'll disagree with this. I think the problem is it's not sexist. It's just the reality is that part of the issue is that for men, right, they can wait, right? Because a man can be 70 years old, right, and still produce offspring, right? For women, there is
biological.
Yes, there is the reality.
Whereas
right?
A woman's a time bomb.
Yes. All right. There are the biological realities that a woman becomes less fertile as she gets older. Right? Those are it's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. Right? We can say it's not fair. We can say all these kind of things.
As
but
my dad
it is
would
what
say,
it
life's
is.
not fair.
Well, life isn't fair. Right?
Yeah. So if you're just looking for love and you want to settle down and you two are having careers and either one of you want to have kids or maybe not even get married, then fine, go for it. Find each other later in life. But to your point, if you're looking for a mate, someone that you're going to create a family with, you go for the more.
Yeah. And what I would say too for younger men, because I think a lot of times young men that are in their 20s get discouraged because they feel like, how can I compete? I think the way you can.
And it's hard to compete with an older man.
It is, because
for that girls in that age group.
Yeah. The way you do that is you have to
invest in Bitcoin.
Well, you can do that, but
not right now.
You have to show that you have you have to show that you're a purpose-driven person. What I mean by that is if you can show them, right, the potential of what you have, mm-hmm. that can be just as attractive as someone who is already established, because they can see this guy is going somewhere, right, and I need to hitch my wagon onto that. Right, because I see he's gonna do something with his life.
Well, a lot of that comes from your faith and knowing what you want out of life. But
yeah.
The problem is a lot of kids at the age, even when you got married, they weren't grounded in faithful in religion. They were just kind of, I'm gonna go to college. We'll see where this goes. Maybe I meet a girl. They mm-hmm. weren't goal oriented. They were just having fun, trying to figure their way out in life. And a lot of times the guy doesn't. They come out of that at maybe close to 30 and. Then they kind of have an established, lifeline of where they can see themselves going or where they want to go.
Yeah. You're 100% right. And that's where I recognize the challenge of that, right? So the things that, that I just mentioned, I don't mention that lightly, right?
Because that's a different type of confidence too.
Yes. And that's the way you can compete, mm-hmm. is say, I am going somewhere. And here's the thing is, you don't have to necessarily, to be purpose-driven and saying, I'm going somewhere with my life, doesn't mean you have to have an exact A, B, C, D plan,
right?
Per se, right? You just have to say, I'm always going to take on opportunity. I'm always going to compete. I'm always going to do I'm going to control the controllables, meaning that what I can affect, right, and make changes, I'm going to do, right? There's this thing called the Serenity Prayer, and where you ask, like, God, give me the I'm gonna, of course I bring it up and I'm not gonna say it right.
Go,
Basically, the prayer just saying, like, for the things that I can change, right? Give me the strength and the wisdom to change that, and be at peace with what I can't change, right? And understanding the difference, right, of those two, right? And when you do that, it's because for me, I firmly believe, right, the only reason why Christina was willing to
Give you a
pursue
chance.
this, it was because I'm serious. Is she saw that I had a purpose driven way of how I did things, and she bought into what I was doing.
How much did you pay her?
Not nothing, because I was broke. I mean that's my point. I mean, as I was
Didn't you
broke.
You had an Audi though.
It's 2004 Audi when we met. Like, take it easy.
Yeah,
all right.
That was still.
But
confidence.
But I was broke when I met her, right? And when we got married, we were broke, and we were broke for a good little while before we got married.
Young couples.
Yes.
I don't honestly, like, no joke. It's a stereotype for a reason. I don't know any couple that gets married young and has kids young that's well off. I mean, that's kind of something that I feel like you, in a way, kind of give up.
Oh yeah.
In order to start a family. I mean, those 10 years, like if I didn't have a wife and kids by the time now, I'd probably be much better off. Maybe not.
Maybe not. You know what's funny is there's a lot of stats showing. I say a lot of stats. It's not a lot of stats. It was a TikTok video I watched, but it was a guy that was talking. He was being interviewed, and he says, "What's funny is with each one of my children that have been born, I've watched my income I've had income jumps every single time, right?" And I heard that. I thought it was interesting because I will say for myself, as each child has been born, I've made more money each time, right? And I think there is a sort of correlation as the man, right? Because you're like, I need to provide.
Babies make money. Got it.
Yes, right. But I think it's a motivator, right, for you, right? Because you see these faces, right? You see your children, you see your wife. They're counting on you to do it. So when you're the right kind of person, right? When you're the right kind of man, you're going to do whatever you need to provide for them, right? And that's going to push you to find better opportunities, to work harder, to maybe put in a little bit more hours, right? And the reality is a man is more suited to do that versus a woman. And again, am I saying that a woman can't pursue a career and all this kind of stuff? No, I'm not. But again, I'm not going to pretend that that's going to give her the same fulfillment and satisfaction in her life that having children and raising children is, right? I will always stand by that, right? You go, girl. Yeah, you slay queen, boss babe, all this kind of crap, right? Do whatever you want. It's your life. All I know is, right?
This is a long
when
question.
You're 30, I know. When you're 30, 35, and all your friends are married and have kids, and no one wants to go to brunch with you, right? You're going to be lonely and miserable.
Don't look back and be sad.
So get married and have babies. Hashtag get married and have babies.
And boom.
Anyway, I think that thoroughly answered that question. So I hope that did. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, well, I know I was saying with my ex-girlfriend, there was no intention. There was no talk. Different backgrounds and everything. With my wife, she let me know up front what she wanted. And I don't know, we dated for maybe 2 years. And we were already engaged. So 6-month engagement. It was short. But again, it's say your intentions up front.
Yeah,
let them know what you want.
When you know what you want, right? You have clear eyes to pursue that.
Right. It's almost like a dead end job. You don't want to wake up 5 years later and realize why did I waste all my time? Know what you want, go after it.
Yes, and make the commitment. Get married, right? These people that are dating for 10 years. Right?
Well,
or whatever.
There's something to be said about getting married too soon, and then there's a lot of people I know that get divorced.
Sure, more often than not, the people that that have short engagements or whatever and get married quick are much better off than the person that's dating someone for 10 years, right? Because it's first I was shit or get off the pot, number one. Number two, though, right, statistically speaking, right, people that live together dating for long periods of time before they get married are have a much higher likelihood of getting divorced, right? It's just the reality, right? Because you put no value. What's really changed? Like, sure, you're married,
Mm-hmm.
right, which is important. That's good. But what's really fundamentally changed? Not much, especially because nowadays people are dating for so long and having sex all the time in their relationship. So nothing is really changing. So now people, usually more liberal people, will take that as a reason to say, well, why get married at all? And again, it's because the institution of marriage is a fundamental building block of society.
Yeah,
Right,
you're showing your
marriage-
commitment to one another.
Yes, showing commitment and being married for till death do us part, and raising children together, right, is a building block, right? And the more that we break that down, the more the rest of society falls apart. Thank you. Welcome to my TED Talk. Okay. Next question.
What you got?
Is cereal soup? When I tell you after when
What?
we're not recording, who sent that, you won't be surprised. But that was a question. I want to switch to something much lighter.
Is cereal soup? Hell no. It is not soup.
Yeah, I agree.
Is soup cold? Who eats cold soup?
Gross.
Psychopaths. Or people who, homeless people under a bridge who don't have means to heat. Even they go to a soup kitchen and get at least hot soup.
That's true. That's true. They go to the soup kitchen.
You could make an argument, is hot water soup? If you use a spoon, then maybe.
I mean, we're going.
If
Wait,
you-
we're
yeah,
going.
I mean,
Where,
if you're-
where,
if
where are
you're
we
eating
going now? I have no
Hot
idea
water
where-
in a bowl with a spoon, I would say that's probably soup. But cereal, no, that is not soup. Now, is hot cereal soup? Traditional cereal, I would also say no, because
You mean
that's
like
thicker
oat-
consistency.
You mean like oatmeal?
Oatmeal, hot cereal. I mean,
What's hot cereal? What do you like? Heat up the milk and put the cereal in it?
yeah, I mean, you could say oatmeal, but there's other things too.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah,
Huh.
It's gross.
You learn something
But
every
like,
day.
yeah, technically oatmeal is like hot cereal in a way, but they have the
It's
like malted
oats,
oats and stuff.
Yeah.
The
Cereal
more
is the same. Cereal is its own thing, like a hot dog is its own thing. Because people always ask, is a hot dog a sandwich? No, a hot dog is a hot dog. It's
There's
a
an
strange. It's a strange.
There's an
thing.
argument to be made.
It's a strange thing. It's a wiener in a bun.
But if I put my wiener in a bun, I couldn't even say it.
Say it. Say it.
But
say
if I
it.
put my wiener in a bun, is that still a hot dog?
No,
Or is that
that's
a salt?
no, that's how a baby's made.
Write that down. Food play. Ketchup. Hot dog.
I see what you did there.
Need Except I need to buy a hoagie roll. I'm just kidding. Do they make buns for Vienna sausages?
This is gone.
Where's this going?
This has gone way off the tracks. But yeah,
I hope you're listening. 'Cause this is a
cereal is its own thing.
There we
Like
go.
hot dog is its own thing. It is. It's like it's not a soup. It's not. What else is it? It's a breakfast thing, right? Which is actually really not good for you.
Is a donut a pastry?
I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's much closer to a traditional pastry than cereal is to soup.
Or is it just a baked good?
What's the difference between a baked good and I guess you.
Well,
could
you
say-
wouldn't say a loaf of bread is a pastry,
Oh
but it
my
is a
God.
baked
It
good.
It is a donut closer to a loaf of bread.
I
or
would say if a
pastry?
donut is glazed and or like iced, probably pastry, but just glazed, I don't know. Could be sweet bread. But if it's jelly, question 3.
No, go on.
But if it's jelly filled, then yeah, definitely that's like a Danish. That's a pastry.
So is it just the level of sweetness that's going to determine if it's a pastry?
I would say yes.
What donut isn't sweet?
Some maybe not as sweet. See, if it's just glazed, like a glazed donut, is that enough to be a pastry?
I would say so, yeah.
I would probably be in that department too.
Yeah. So I mean, any donut is. I love my favorite actually donuts are like the little cake donuts.
Oh, they're the best.
So
but
good.
a blueberry cake.
Yep. So good.
It's like crack.
It is.
It's like what the gates of heaven feel like, but in a bite. And then you realize, hey, I can't eat this all the time. Otherwise, I'm going to go to heaven.
Real quick. But I mean, I'm a big kolache guy too.
Really? Yeah. Well, it's the savoriness. As I've gotten older in age, my sweet tooth is gone. I used to have a huge sweet tooth.
Yeah, I'm not
Like going
big-
on road trips, if you see a Cinnabon like at like the truck stop,
I'm
like
not-
marble slab
Yeah,
Cinnabon.
I'm the same way. I'm not a big sweets guy anymore. Like I'll do it like, at Thanksgiving, they're cutting the pie, they serve you. I'll have a piece, sure. Ice cream. What we usually do is we'll buy like a quarter gallon, right, of Bluebell or a half gallon, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just grab a spoon. I'll have like 2 or 3 spoonfuls. I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied, and I just move on.
When we're watching a show and like if I'm having whiskey or anything, and my wife is like getting snacky, she'll go and get the Halloween candy, or she'll get some of the Brooksfield or Brookstone, whatever, the chocolate covered pomegranate and blueberries and crap.
Those things are like crack.
Or she'll
so
make
good.
some cereal or some weird people call soup. Me, I'll go in there and I keep like meat sticks, like bison, venison, jalapeno, and cheddar. Like that's what if I get snacky, it could be 11 o'clock. I'm going to go grab a meat stick before. Yeah. Yeah. I see how that sounds now. Question 3.
Question 3. So,
was there a question 3? Did we just get 2?
we actually have 3 more questions.
3
I don't know.
more?
Yeah, I don't know if we have time.
What time is it?
We're getting close to the hour mark. We like to keep it.
All right. Well, we can roll through these.
Okay. So
It'll
okay.
take like 20 minutes a question.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, you have me, right? I'm long-winded. So the other one,
I just
we
keep
got
talking
was
about meat sticks and hot dogs. That's what I bring to the table.
Oh
apparently.
man, who is the most influential person of 2022? Do you think?
Of 2022?
Yes. Who was the most influential person this year?
As far as like, who do we think is?
Yeah,
As far as like kind of a movement or in general?
Just your personal opinion. Who do you think is
Andrew
the most?
Tate.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
I know
That's
it's kind of later in the year.
No, that's a good pick for most influential. Okay, well, his popularity got really exploded at the end of the year.
But it's
right?
not just popularity. He's motivated a lot of people. You either love him or you hate him, but everybody pretty much knows who he is.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to be said within a year's worth of growth.
That's a good answer. That's
Thank
a
you.
very good answer. I would say I think
I don't even
I'd say you're right.
I don't even like absorb a lot of his content. You see the occasional TikTok where somebody's just copying and pasting some clips, but that's kind of how his empire grew. Like,
I'm not
it's
gonna
almost
lie.
like a pyramid scheme. Like you just share his content and then you're part of the, I don't know how it works, but
yeah, if you share his content and you share his content and you share his content, yeah. Me personally, I'm not even gonna lie. I find his content so funny. I find it fantastic. I love it. I think it's great. I
very
think
over
it's
the
good.
top, but there's a lot of truth.
I think it's more. It's a whole lot more good than bad, by a lot.
A whole lot more good than bad.
Yeah, I know that was really, really thought out sort of response.
We should
Who
put that
I
into
think-
a shirt.
Yeah, sure.
Andrew Tate, a whole lot more good than bad.
You know what's funny? I bet you if you ever saw that, like, you'd be like, yeah, that about puts it all together. My pick for most influential person in 2022?
Jordan Peterson.
No,
Ooh,
Elon Musk.
really?
Elon Musk, absolutely.
He's made some waves this year.
It's been the year.
Actually, not just waves, moves. He's made some big moves, but he's always made waves.
This year, he took a major step, right? I mean, him taking over Twitter has changed everything. The Twitter files that have come out over the last several weeks have been just insane.
It's almost up there with like the whole WikiLeaks thing and everything. If you think about it,
It's about as close to WikiLeaks as I think you can get because it's very mainstream, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what he has done this year, because the Twitter purchase, was announced. Well, I think it was summertime when it was first announced, and then it finally happened. About a month or two ago now, right? So it was a long time coming, but he kept saying a lot of things over and over again, right? And he's someone that, put his money where his mouth is, right? He's one of the top 3
They weren't
wealthiest
just
people in
tweets
the world.
anymore.
No, he said, I'm going to use my wealth and power and purchase this and do something about it for the sake of freedom of speech, of liberty, and what he believes. And we see that it's actually making an impact because of all the attacks on him have ramped up right? We have the FBI and multiple government agencies trying to do investigations on him, right? They're trying to go back to his
crazy in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely, right? He apparently they're checking his immigration papers to see if he lied on his application to become a citizen, because then they can deport him.
Yeah,
Apparently,
where's the list? That's what I want to know.
Hashtag where's the list?
If we're gonna start like nickel and diming people who spend over $600 and then they get like by the IRS audited and stuff, we're not going to talk about the fact that the Pentagon just got audited again, and for like the umpteenth time, they're like short like 2.2 trillion, and nobody knows where it's at.
Oops.
But
where to go? I don't know.
Taylor sold for a weight machine on Facebook Marketplace, and it was 601, and he didn't claim it on his taxes. So like the Fed, no.
Yeah, Fed boys kicking
I was
down
about to say it.
Your door. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, because we're at my door. Thank you.
Well, if they're here's what I know: if they're kicking down your door, they're kicking down my door. I'm extremely problematic. I'm a Hispanic, Latinx, right? That doesn't want to tout the party line. I'm a big problem. So anyway, so let's move on to the next one. So the next one, unequally yoked friendships and how they can affect you. How they can actually affect you. So what's funny about this, actually, real quick, is when I was a kid, whenever I'd be in mass and they would bring up a Bible verse that used the phrase yoked, I'm like, what do eggs have to do with this? Because that's what I knew a yoke was, right? I didn't know that yoked was the thing that's put around like livestock, right, to help them pull and do all that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yes, right. That's why like when they talk about being yoked, right, is what is it, like when you have one ox, right, pulling something, right, it can pull a lot, right, but when you have two, I think it can they can pull together like 10 times the amount.
Oh, so it's like they're yoked together. That's
right.
Like the ring that goes over.
Yeah. So that's what it is to be
about.
yoked. Yeah, not actually yoked.
I'm like, gym bros, they're yoked together.
Yeah. That is another type of yoke, but this is the yoke we're talking about. So
fair enough.
So unequally yoked friendships. I think it's the same thing as relationships. You got to get out of there. You got to get out of there. If you're not going the same direction, it just doesn't work.
Not only that, I mean, one-sided friendships, it's pretty much the same thing. Or you want to get back just as much as you're putting in, or at least to feel like the other person's making an effort. Let's just say you're a giver and you're way over the top generous. Maybe somebody can't match that, but they should at least be, matching your energy, at least kind of like contributing some way. Like, you don't want to be that person who feels like you're friends with somebody, but you're the one always doing all the work on the school project, and then they just sign their name on it and you'll turn it in together. Like, that's not how you want to go through life. That's not a friendship. The older that I get, the less I care about friends. No offense, Christian. But like my wife,
there's a lot to be said about, at the end of the day, you probably have
a tight circle.
Yeah. Like, if you think you have more than five friends, you probably have none.
You have 5 people. You may have more than 5 people you get along with, or that you can hang out with for periods of time, or if you go out. But like somebody that you can call at 3 a.m. and be like, hey, I can't explain, but I need you to come pick me up. I'm right here. How many people would drop everything they're doing and not even ask a question on the phone? Just be like, send me your PIN. Like, those are like diehard friends. And I'm not saying that everybody has to fit in that category of late night call or you can't be in my life kind of thing. But I mean, my wife's gone through a lot of friendships, unfortunately, in the last, since my son was born, really 6 years. And it's to see her put so much effort into trying to maintain a friendship and not get back that same, and eventually she gets burned out. And when she stops being the one to initiate a text or to do a call, and then you stop hearing from the other person, that was never really a friend. So
yeah, that's 100%, and that's where you have to be going to the same place, and meaning like, it's very similar to just being in a relationship, right? You have to be values aligned, right? All these kind of things, right? Because the saying iron sharpens iron is a cliche for a reason. It's true, right? You need someone that's going to help you to be a better person, right? Someone that can hold you accountable, someone who will call you out, right? When they think you're doing something that's not good, right? That's maybe harmful to you, right? A good friend will do that, right? A fair weather or mediocre friend is going to let you continue to destroy yourself, right? And I've had many times in my life where I was not a good friend to people, and those are some of the only things I really regret is not being the real friend that's what they should have had and what they deserved, and that's what's so important, right? And again, when you have friends, when you get older, you're gonna have like two 2 to 5 again really close friends, right? That you can talk to.
That's really what
right?
you want, anyways.
It is, right? You don't want a billion friends. No.
Yeah, you don't want followers.
It's ridiculous, right? Because again, like I said, your relationships are actually shallow, right? And there's no depth to them. And as you get older, you certainly start to value depth over, the number of. It's quality over quantity. Right?
Yeah, but somebody's got to be a good match. In a way, that sounds silly because we're talking about friendship here, but I mean, there's still guys from high school that I may not talk to for 3 years at a time, but if one of us picks up the phone, like we can talk, and it's like no time has passed, and that's pretty much
absolutely
a good friend
one of my best friends. I mean, he lives in Colorado now, and so I mean, he comes into town every once in a while for work, and if we're fortunate,
and he's
we
like
get
you
to hang
pick
out.
up right where we left off.
Yep, we meet up for a drink or for dinner or whatever, and yeah, just conversation right back where we started. You know what I mean? And it's. Hell, I've known him over half my life now.
But that's a different kind of friendship than somebody who's your core and your yolks aren't matched kind of thing. Because that's one of those friendships that doesn't need work because you like you were talking about, your paths are the same, even though they're in different directions.
Yeah.
So when you come back together, it's effortless.
Right.
And
I think where a lot like in the example, like, you and I have gotten so close over the last several years is that, again, we've held on to these values that we talk about, and so it makes it really easy to be able to be around each other because we understand.
Simpatico.
Yeah, like we understand the things we're going through. We understand what it's like to be a dad, to be a husband. Go through that, and along with similar interests and things like that, right? And those things really make a difference, right? And really, honestly, is if you stay authentic to yourself, you'll find that people that are not like that would be, I would say, not equally yoked will just kind of just go away, and you got to let them, right? If it's going to go away, then, later, and stick with those that will do that. So I hope that was a good answer for that.
So.
And so here's the last. So this will be the last one, right? And then we'll wrap up. I mean, not only this
we'll wrap
episode,
up Christmas.
but we'll wrap up 2022. So breaking through comparisons, especially in the modern online world for both men and women. So I think the question would be like, how do you break through that, the comparison that can happen?
Wait, say the question again.
So she said, breaking through comparison, especially in the modern online world for both men and women. Like, we have a tendency to compare, right? Especially, when it comes to social media, you see what other people are doing, right?
Yeah.
You have FOMO. Like, how do you break through that comparison game, right? You're comparing with other people.
Well, I'd like to quote Ryan Reynolds' mom from Just Friends, and that's to be yourself, be yourself. Another good Christmas movie. You like how I did that?
That's funny.
But no, just stop comparing. Stay in your lane. Focus on yourself. Friends will come and go. Make an effort to, but the ones who aren't, let them fall to the wayside. This is all coming together, if you're noticing.
Well, it's funny you say it because what I was just thinking from what you just said is that, you need to be, it's very cliche, like be authentically you, like do that healthy, right? Like don't be authentically you in your bad habits, right? But I think the way you learn to be comfortable in your skin and not compare to other people is to, I think, actually kind of know who you are, right? I think a lot of people don't really, at the core, really know themselves because they've spent so much time trying to fit
please
in
others
or please
fake,
others, please others and all that kind of stuff. And, that's something that I really broke out of, right, in being with Christina, actually, is that I was able to, I recognize a lot of things that I did that I was like, I really don't care about that. I just did that because of the certain people I was around or whatever. And those people are no longer in my life. And what's funny is I thought they were really close to me. And as soon as they were out of my life, it's like we haven't even spoken, right?
Yeah.
And it's not bad blood. It's just like, now that we don't ever see each other, we don't talk. And so
You're on different paths.
yeah, there wasn't really anything to that, right? To that relationship, not really. And I think what it has to do with is also your self-worth, right? And I think where you're going to find that, right, is finding identity in the person of Jesus Christ, in my personal opinion. When you find that your identity in him, right, in he who loves you unconditionally, right, you will be able to release yourself of that need to compare with things. And it is hard, right, because especially with social media, right, you see people with
you need to have a greater sense of purpose, and religion and Christ does that. Stay off social media too, because that place is just a trash pit, especially for young people coming of age. I mean, all you see when you scroll right now is trending is you go up to somebody, man, woman on the street, and you ask them what they think their number is on a scale of 1 to 10, like your hotness level.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, do you think other people would agree? And these people, they start off with some decent self-worth, and some have none. And then they take their picture and they go to the next group, and they have that group rate them. And whoever answered, they ask them, oh, what do you think you are? And the cycle continues. But it's a horrible cycle. Like, we shouldn't be comparing ourselves like that.
No. And I think, again, when it comes to everything, I think you gave, the best answer, which is like, just stay off of social media.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to do that, right? You compare, because, when we post on social media, right, we're posting, the best versions of ourselves, right? And what you end up doing is you compare people's highlight reels to your low, you compare people's highlights to your lowlights, right? And it's easy to think that they're all, their life is always the way it is,
picture
filtered
perfect.
on Instagram.
Well, did you see that Musk was talking about he's going to buy Snapchat next and delete all the filters so people can really see what the girls really look like?
No, but that's awesome. So
again, he just trolls. But
I love Elon. Well, he trolls until he actually puts his money where his mouth is. And I think that's going to be the biggest key is just do again, and understand your journey is different from anyone else's, right? You're a unique individual who has yet to fulfill whatever it is you're supposed to do. And so be okay with the fact that your journey may be a little bit longer than someone else's, right? To whatever it may be, right? Whatever it is you're trying to pursue in your life. Right? I think it's very, and also whenever you see someone, and this is also just a practical reason not to compare, is just because you see people with nice stuff doesn't mean they can actually afford it. Yeah. Right?
I sell homes for a living, people.
Visa and MasterCard, right, are very easy.
I don't sell homes, I build them, but yeah. And then it's crazy because I can go in there like 6 months later for a warranty, and I can tell people who are way stretched thin to live in that house because the house isn't even filled up. Like, they're just... it's not a race.
Think about it, right? Think about it, right? Because a lot of the time, right, the people that don't post on social media, the people that don't make splashes are the ones that are actually doing, in real life, right, actually doing the best. Their relationships are actually really great. Their financial situation is actually very good, right? They have a 2010, Honda Civic, right, which no one thinks is amazing, right? And your friend over here has a brand spanking new F-150. His ass is paying $2,000 a month for a car payment. His is paid off, right? And he's got $50K in investments and growing, right? You have no idea what's going on in people's lives, so be careful what in that comparison, right? Now but what that means is that you should just focus on yourself, right, and making your life the best it can be, because it's your life and your journey. And the person that's going to determine the outcome is you. Because if anything's going to change, you got to be the one to change it.
Stay in your lane. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I would say, you know, be authentically you, right? Accept who you are, right? For all your great, all your faults along with all your great things, because everyone has both. Everyone does. Everyone has faults. Everyone has great aspects to themselves. The best thing you can do is grow in your strengths and do your best to try to take care of your shortcomings the best you can. You know, you're not going to be perfect. No one's ever going to be perfect, right? But it starts with taking personal responsibility, right, for everything that happens in your life, right? When you do that, right, when you make yourself the issue, you can also make yourself the solution, right? Because if you're the problem, you can also be the solution, right? To actually make your life better, right? For yourself and for your family, and then, you know, if you're married and all that kind of good stuff, right? So, I mean, that's what I would say.
Well spoken.
So,
yeah, because only Jesus was perfect.
That's true.
You just got to try your best to live for your family and do everything you can.
Right.
Every single day.
Right. And so, I mean, as we wrap up 2022, right, and our second annual Christmas.
I was about to say, yeah,
Christmas
second
special.
annual. That's crazy too.
Yeah. I would say, first off, just thank you, right? I mean, we started this journey onto YouTube in May.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, it's been a lot of fun. We've met a lot of great people in that process, and had a lot of fun. And so, what I'll tell you is for this next year, obviously, we're going to have more continued fun. We're going to have more people. I think we're going to have a guest to be the first episode of the year.
Really? If not, I was going to suggest we could do like a year goals for the new year too.
We could do that one first.
If not,
we'll talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Certainly, if a guest is not the first episode, it will be the second episode.
Because we're wrapping up a year now. We're looking back, but what's to look forward to?
Do I say? My goal is to get Carla back on the episode as our first guest of the year. So we'll see. Hopefully, gotta talk to her. I told her I'll talk to her after the new year, so we'll see what happens. But I would like for her to be our first guest back because she's awesome.
I mean, forget y'all. I personally want to know the rest of that story.
Yeah,
that was a wild story.
I mean, there's a lot still there, and I know she wants to talk about a lot more stuff. And of course, if you follow Allie, right, at the Real Femme Sapien on YouTube, fantastic channel, of course, and she's had her on a couple times, and I just love the content. It's just amazing, and Carla is just awesome. So I'm hoping to have Carla on as our first episode or our first guest of the year. So it'll either be the first, second episode. We'll figure it out. And yeah, you know, we've had a lot of fun. Hopefully going into the next year, now that we have a studio, a setup, you know, we'll try to maybe think of other different ways to put out content besides our weekly episode. We'll see. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe some fun stuff like reaction videos. I don't know, something fun. I think there's some stuff we can do in there. But yeah, thank you guys for coming along with us. As always, again, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell down below. You can follow us at the Counterculture Cast on Instagram. You can find our other social media that way. And then, of course, Apple and Spotify if you prefer the audio version. We love you guys. Have a great Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year. And we will see you in 2020.